The exercise we're going to look at today is a hip CAR in a quadruped position. CAR being a controlled articular rotation, or a big circle, really, for want of a better term. Now, this exercise, the reason we're doing this is to try and use the hip muscles, or all the muscles around the hip, in its full range of motion, in a controlled way where you're developing stability as well as movement. And the reason we need that is because in this day and age, most of us spend an awful lot of time in a seated position. If your job requires you to sit at a desk, you're sitting all the time, you end up with shortening of muscles in the hip flexor region, and you end up with tight glutes but weak glutes at the same time. We tend not to move laterally very often, so we're always underdeveloped in our glute medius for most people, and even just travelling to and from wherever we go during the day, whether it be a place of work or whether it's you're with children and you're taking them out, you quite often you're in a car or you're on a bus or you're on a train or something, you're still in that seated position. When we're watching TV, you're still in a seated position. It happens so often that we probably lose track of just how much time we spend seated, and as a result of that tension starts to build up, and it's built up probably for most of us over years, and therefore trying to do something about it in the space of 5 minutes is not going to fix it. Going to get one massage or doing one mobility session, it's not going to cut it. However, if we can start to look to use the joints within their full range of motion, it starts to develop some kind of control within that movement. It starts to loosen off the muscle as well, or all the muscles that are involved, and it will just over time start to develop a habit of being able to move through the full range of motion. So that's why we're doing this. The reason we're doing it in a quadruped position is it forces you into core stability as well. So you're sort of having to brace the midsection, which is then going to control through the hips, and because of that you get a much more controlled movement and you become more controlled through your entire body in doing the movement. So all you have to do for this is get on your hands and knees. There's no equipment necessary. Get on your hands and knees, make sure your hands are below your shoulders so that your shoulders aren't having to do extended work by them being too high or too low. Your knees should be below your hips. That will create a 90-degree angle from your hip down to your knee and then across your lower leg, your shin line. And what you're looking to do is keep that 90-degree angle at all times as you extend outwards into what a lot of people call dog peeing a fire hydrant, although we don't really have them in this country, but basically, dog lifting its leg. So you extend with the knee coming out the way, extend the knee backwards and up, keep in control of the glutes the whole time, and then reverse the process. I'll show you what I mean. You'll probably see within that, my form is far from perfect. This isn't something I do an awful lot, it's something I probably should do an awful lot more, but like everyone else, the certain things that you should make the time for, tend not to. And I do quite a lot of work on my mobility, especially through the adductors and lateral movement. But as far as that particular exercise, it's not one I do extensively, but it is one I should probably do more. But it's one that I do think is incredibly beneficial for a lot of people. If you already have pain in your hip, then as long as this isn't making it a lot worse and you're just feeling a sort of a stretch while you're doing it, that's okay. If you go to do this and it's actually causing you pain, avoid it for now, work on the mobility in that area or find out where the pain's coming from and work on mobilizing that and strengthening anything that is causing an imbalance to cause the pain. That's going to take a lot more figuring out. But if there's no pain, but it's a difficult movement for you, then this is definitely something that you should try and integrate for a few days at least, and then if it's working for you, then carry it on for a few weeks. See how you got on with it. If you're having any trouble, come back to me, let me know how you're getting on, and we can obviously make adjustments to things as is needed. So just let me know how you're doing, and good luck.